welcome to Speakeasy. I'm Hayley.
And I'm Jenny. And you might notice I'm not sat where I'm usually sat.
No, because we've got a guest today.
Hi.
So we are joined by someone who's quickly become one of the most recognisable people in event marketing. She's a top 40 influencer for technology for marketing, both 2024 and 2025, and was named a top 100 event industry influencer a couple of years ago. We've joined by Gina Kay. She's the marketing manager at International Confex, one of the leading industry shows here in the UK, and I'm right to say around Europe as well. She is driving audience engagement and building community whilst also championing sustainability efforts across the show. Before Confex, she did also help expand the Exhibition News and Exhibition World events portfolio. And before Confex, she helped expand the Exhibition News and Exhibition World events portfolio from a single post-pandemic event all the way to 6, and grew their LinkedIn communities from 7.5 to over 17,000. That's not an easy feat. She's been pushing for bold, fun approaches to event marketing since the very start of your career, and then mentoring emerging talent through Elevate. So please welcome to the podcast, Gina Kay.
Thank you. That was a wonderful intro.
We try. I mean, hopefully we can cut out some of those stumbles. But Gina, welcome. So we're really excited to have you. You are actually really just starting into event content this year, aren't you? You've taken over the programme for International Confex.
Yes. So I actually joined International Confex in November 2024, like about 4 or 5 months before Confex 2025. And yeah, like they basically said, oh, do you also want to take on the content? And like usually it's done by Liz, who's our CEO, and Jack, who's our chief commercial officer. And I was like, are you sure? And they gave me 6 theatres to work on, and obviously we had a call for papers already going, and yeah, and then so I did those 6 theatres and Confex 2025, and then now we've kind of taken it on completely fully, and yeah, it's been a really joy to work on, really.
Amazing. Well, so that's the thing. This year it's different. It's not call for papers.
Nope.
You haven't sourced from the industry on this. You have gone an editorial approach, which is what me and Jenny are used to. This is the typical approach that we do, don't we? So
I'm kind of curious, just like how are you doing the process then? What's the actual, so if there's no call for papers, are you doing the research? Have you been doing chats with people in the industry to figure out the topics?
Yeah, so basically it started when I did my post-event report, and we kind of saw what the feedback was from like all of the different theatre sessions in terms of like who was in the room for each session. And then we made a few changes to the theatres first, based on kind of what we kind of saw was what we thought was like kind of sexier theatre names, basically. That was the brief to me. And so we kind of added in a few new theatres, and then we basically was like looking at the data from the call for papers and also from the delegate feedback and from the speaker feedback, from like both those paid and those call for paper ones. We just kind of took the kind of initiative to really kind of look at, right, how can we level this up in a way that still engages our community and still takes on that feedback and really kind of push it into a way that, you know, is different and is new for 2026.
Nice. Like, what kind of triggered this change?
Basically, all of the people that came back in the feedback form delegates wise, they basically said that it was quite salesy.
Okay.
So yeah, so they obviously we had to honor a lot of the purchases that happened between 24 and 25, and so I just slotted them in where I could into the theatres. But obviously a lot of those were like, you know, exhibitors doing solo sessions on, you know, yes, they were case studies, but it did come across quite salesy. So we were like, well, how about we turn it on its head and we build the sessions, and we build the panels, and basically we sell the moderation spots to those exhibitors and those sponsors, and then we could kind of build it out in a more editorial approach, but we still had the commercial element in there.
I think that comes into like what we've talked about previously when it comes to commercial content, and there's been such a shift where people are really not standing for being pitched at anymore from a delegate perspective, and those sessions are just emptying out when it's happening now. And people do want from commercial partners more of a thought leadership stance, like how are they actively supporting things in industry, or, you know, how are their people being thought leaders in these areas rather than just sitting there and going, this is what we do and these are our services. They would rather hear more from the people behind the brand, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I also think I think your type of event is really curious, and I've thought about this because it's like you're putting an event for event people, like that for me would up the pressure, because like I think,
does.
yeah, because everyone in the audience will have thought of their own events, how to not make it salesy, right? So they are hyper aware of these kind of things in an event, so they're probably, yeah, I just find it fascinating.
People are very, very brutally honest in the feedback forms, I can tell you now. Yeah, we've definitely kind of had a lot of feedback. And when we kind of looked at 2026 to build those topics out, I initially went to like our focus groups. So we, like Mash Media, we run International Confex, but we also run conference news, exhibition news, and access all areas. And so we built out a new theatre called the Agency Hub. So that's new for 2026, because that's like a combination of EPS and Confex. So that, you know, we've done that for that audience. And then we've also got like Brand Experience Lab, which was corporate. And then we've also kind of got a few, like, so we've combined sustainability and people and culture. But yeah, people are brutally honest when it comes to telling me specifically what's kind of, you know, I would go on like LinkedIn for like chronically online as any one of us might be. And it's like, you know, there was threads like, you know, this hasn't been covered. Oh, this was good. But like, I'd rather people tell me that feedback and we can kind of change it for next year than no, they'd be like, oh my God, just praise. Like, you know, nothing's ever going to go completely right in an event. I think, that, you know.
We all know that, don't we?
Exactly.
I think the other pressure with an event for events people is, you know, when we say like, it's fine when you're on site because the audience isn't going to notice the little things. We're all assholes. We notice the little things. We do. And I've done events for events people as well. It is a higher pressure. It really is, because your audience is going to notice, you know, maybe things when things don't start on time, or, you know, when a mic isn't working in the right way, or if something visually on a screen doesn't look correct, or just anything. So I think it's a blessing and a curse in a way, because when you get that feedback, they are going to tell you the things that went wrong. Yeah. But at the same time, the things that they want you to change, they've got much better insight to tell you what needs to change, rather than just, I'm trying to think of recent feedback I've had. I
mean, yeah, but just in other events where I get like delegates asking for things that are impossible to deliver. And I'm just like, sure, like, thanks for that advice, but I can't do anything with it.
It's like, we can't get Stephen Bartlett. Like, there's no way. My budget does not stretch to that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to happen. But, you know, looking at like trends in terms of advertising and marketing, those kinds of kind of peripheral event industry events, like looking at those as well to kind of see, like, you know, we've seen like tech pitches. We did tech pitches in 25 and they didn't do great. So, but I saw them at IBTM and they did do really great. So it's kind of like, you know, what fits with our audience and what fits with the times and the space that we've got and the resources we have.
Well, that's the thing. It is a big show. There's a lot of theatres and it is across 2 days. But at the end of the day, when you're wanting to combine several content theatres with obviously people going to make exhibitors and that side of the thing as well, it's hard to deliver full programmes. So what are some of the new things that you're bringing into the programme this year that you're excited for?
So obviously I kind of chatted a bit about the panel sessions. That's the biggest change. So all of the sessions, I've got 7 of the 9 content theatres out on the website. Kind of, we'll be building those like as soon as the panelists kind of confirm and they'll kind of put their info in, then they'll go on the website. So that's kind of the biggest change, is I'm having to tell exhibitors that their speaking slot is now a moderation panel. So that's kind of the biggest change, but we are doing a few live debates, which we're really excited about. We're really excited about some big topics. And yeah, we've also kind of got some really fun keynotes. And then also on day 2, basically, we wanted to kind of go for the content theatre around associations to be split into 2 different verticals. So we wanted day one to kind of be medical and life sciences events forum, and then a day 2 on the kind of finance and tech events forum. And then basically they were like, we asked our associations for the associations executives and ABCO, and then we're like, we hate this. So I went back to the drawing board and we're doing an associations event forum kind of on day 1, and then on day 2 we're going to do like a call for workshops, which will be really cool. So we'll do like workshops that are like really interactive. You know, our attendees can go in and they can really take something kind of almost physical out of it, you know, and really kind of get stuck into those topics that kind of we decide, and that's what we put a call out for.
Okay.
So that, you know, we do kind of get some industry insights in terms of maybe people that we haven't heard of, or, you know, that have been kind of lurking in the background that haven't kind of come forward for speaking.
Yeah.
So that we can kind of maybe see, you know, the likes of you guys might put on a session as well.
Something on event content.
Yes.
How to get your speakers,
Yeah.
speaker recruitment, something like
Yeah.
that. No, thinking of like work. Well, I love a workshop, and
Yeah.
I think that having, you know, different formats in a program is really important, especially across theatres. And if people are taking the time to go to an event for 2 days, they definitely want takeaways, whether that's from meeting exhibitors or from a content theatre.
Going back to actually the kind of sponsored content and your new approach with sponsors, I'm really curious about this because we've talked a lot about working with sponsors and what's best. And to be honest, unless they've been like consultancies, I've never had sponsors be the moderators, because consultants are used to being neutral and kind of asking the questions and stuff. So how are you going to go about this? Because just like sponsors, a lot of time, we don't choose who their speakers are. They just kind of internally decide who that is and just tell you. So yeah, how are you going to approach the fact that they're going to be moderating your panels for you?
So obviously, like last year, we because I kind of came in so late, a lot of this, like the speakers, I didn't vet most of them in terms of who was being chosen from those companies. And so I didn't have a lot of time to prepare any training or any supporting documents. But it did go really well. Like we didn't have anybody kind of cancel, and we did, like, despite the fact that, you know, it was probably a bit too salesy, the speakers itself were really engaging. So for me, if those same people come back for 2026, then for me, that's fine. But we are, because they're sponsored, going to be putting in more training.
Right.
And also, you know, they have to have a minimum of 2 briefer calls with this, like their panel, and they'll be getting documents. And yeah, we're going to put on like a couple of workshops basically with paid support, because obviously now it's a paid kind of revenue. We can put the marketing support behind that. So yeah, we've got some bits in the works, and we'll probably put out like a YouTube video, and, you know, we've actually got a podcast studio in our media village, and they're putting out some speaker bits for us. So they've already started to kind of take their own spin on it, because we'll obviously take any of the like main stage ones, or anybody that's interested in doing like a podcast recap and stuff. So they're like, oh, well, we can help you out because we've done speaker training before. So we've kind of got like a few different angles to kind of cover, to make sure that they know that moderation, you know, it's a privilege for them to be on this panel. It's a privilege to be on this panel with, you know, the speakers that we've found for them. And so they'll get one-on-one time with those speakers. But also at the same time, I think they know, because it is the events industry, that if they fuck this up, then it's in front of all their clients and all their prospects.
Right.
So they can't really fuck it up.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you're being quite proactive about it, which good luck closer to the time. What I would say.
I mean, like, ring around being like, guys, fancy coming on a panel?
It is though, but I mean, moderation, especially with panels, I think we've talked about panel prep before, and moderators are so key in making sure that conversation stays at level, it stays on the right time, and the topics that you want it to cover, and that the takeaways are going to be established. There's so many times where panels go on and then never stays to time, and you have to cut it off, and then those closing kind of parts don't get covered.
Or I mean, actually recently I had probably the worst moderation on a panel that I've ever witnessed, where a moderator, I mean, I feel like I'm comfortable saying this because we had individual moderators for loads of things. But this moderator, I genuinely think he spoke for 30 minutes out of the 45 minutes of the panel discussion.
Oof.
Yeah, so it was a tough one. My face was making certain expressions. And actually, when I went close to the stage, I saw 2 of my speakers, and they were literally like this, looking at him. So then I started laughing because their face they were pulling, and I was just, it was a mess of a session. Like, I don't think anyone really took any takeaways from it. So that's why I'm very conscious of being like, you know, moderators really make or break
Yeah, that's
a
so
panel.
true.
how do you stop them? Sorry, I'm so sidetracking on our conversation, but like, how would you stop a moderator that went on for 30 minutes?
But obviously, I think that's kind of why we put in stage managers, we put in chairs, we put in, we've got obviously students that are like scanning in everybody. I mean, we actually like both were stage managers for the EN Indies. And I think that, you know, if it got to a point where, you know, there was a moderator that wasn't kind of behaving in the right way, I think we would both feel comfortable. And that's kind of how we go about, like, I'm so involved in the nitty gritty of everything because it's Confex, that it's kind of like, I kind of have that control in a lot of it, which I'm kind of really grateful for. But equally, they don't really want to feel the wrath of me afterwards either.
And that's being a producer. We can relate to that. And that is, it's your baby. That program is your baby. Nobody messes with it.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I've gone absolutely crazy on site because like somebody's not done the job and it's gone wrong. Actually, I had one recently, sorry to share this now, where we had an event that was strictly no Q&A, like none whatsoever. It was a complete no-go. And these speakers were done with their presentation way earlier than expected. And they just went into a 10-minute Q&A. And my stage manager like texted me on like our WhatsApp group going, this theatre's just gone into Q&A and I'm there with the client and I just say, so-and-so's gone into Q&A, and like we like sprint from the organizer's office through to the theatre and we're there and like I was like, how do we stop this? And they didn't even, it was a huge room, but they didn't even have like a mic for the questions. They were just like getting people to shout up from the audience. So I go over to the stage and I give me a mic, take a mic, and I go, thank you so much, we have time for one more question. I got the clear to do one question to just try and like calmly wrap it from the client. And then they were like, oh, we're running out of time. And it's like he had like 15 minutes or something on his session left. I was like, you've got one question left. And they saw me and they saw the client as well. And they went, oh, yeah, we shouldn't have done that because they got like full no Q&A briefing whatsoever. So couple of last bits. So what's been the most surprising stepping into an event content role?
Probably the absolute research that I get to do. Like, I'm an event grad. Like, this is like such a full circle moment, having kind of, my first event was, you know, making publishing pay at Confex 2020. So like for me to have volunteered 4 years ago to now be in charge of kind of such a big impactful event, like is just like, it does, like I'll be crying like over the 2 days, like don't like I'll be crying with joy if everything goes right. But yeah, I think for me that, you know, the research, you know, we've got a session on like copyright or wrong, which is all about like the IP between, you know, stand builders and corporates and event agencies. And I think with 2025, like the 2 sessions I really had like got my claws into, they did really well, and that kind of gave me the confidence to be able to say I can do this. And I think that building on it is kind of definitely been kind of an amazing experience, but also kind of working with my community team, because they basically tell me who kind of is up and coming, who's good speakers. You know, I can't go to every Mash Media event. I can't go to every industry event. So actually, you know, them texting me and being like, oh, I've just met this amazing woman at like IMAX America. She's really keen to come to Confex. Can you put in touch? Like, you know, I think it's those moments of serendipity that you kind of get pre-event that you can then kind of be able to craft at the event, which makes it all worthwhile. And
a couple more things, more just for you generally as an event professional. Have you got a dream speaker that you would like to have at a show one day?
Probably like Paris Hilton.
Please expand further. I
love that.
Yeah, Paris Hilton. She did her book, and she's also like an amazing DJ. And I went to IBTM, and they had like this DJ that did this talk and then about music and the impact of music on, you know, events and on people and experiences. And I think that she, you know, she's just an iconic woman. And she'd probably have some fucking killer stories. Like, oh my God, like amazing. And I think that, you know, we might not have budget for her this year, but your gal can dream.
We all dream about budgets. We all do. We've all got like top speakers that we want one day, and it's, if the budget would allow, oh my God, the people I would bring on. What's been a session, like whether it's been a Confex or you know, another show that you've been to that stood out for you?
So probably I'll give you 2. I'll give you one from Confex and then I'll give you one from another event.
Plug your own event, please.
So last year, like the session that I'd been wanting to do for absolutely ages was all about the impact of design and architecture on exhibition stands and the trends that you'd have coming from interior and architecture and how they impact like the look and feel of a trade show. And that was on the exhibition hub. And it was a sellout. It was such a great event, you know, had great speakers. I went out to them all and was like, I've got this really crazy idea, but fancy doing it for me? And my mum got to see the speaking session.
Right.
My mum came to Confex and she got to see the session in action. And I was like, this is what I do. And she was so proud. And it was just it was a really amazing kind of full circle moment for me. And then literally at IBTM, like Julia Solaris did this session with a robot. And it was all AI. And it was an actual robot replying to Julius about like the future of the events industry.
Jesus.
What, as in like, what's that robot? Is it like Sophia the robot, you know, the one that you see on the news? Was it like that?
It was a full-size, full-bodied robot.
Did it have like a face?
Yeah.
Did it look human or did it look like a robot?
You can insert it.
Yeah. And what did they talk about? Just AI and events and the future of it?
Yeah. It was really cool. It was on the future trends stage, and it was so cool to see. And then obviously they had a stand booth showing the robot, and it was like you could go up and ask it questions, and it was like, this is really crazy. That definitely stood out to me.
I'm now like robot speakers.
Oh gosh.
Look at your face. The idea.
Well, the idea of a hologram, like, if you can't get someone shipped in, like if you can't get a speaker.
because you're gonna get so. Well, I mean, yeah, it'll be cool, but at the same time, you're gonna get so many weirdos, to be honest, who think they should be in a hologram. That I'm like, no, you're fine. Like, I don't want that as an excuse.
I'm just thinking though, robot speakers, would that be like easier to work with? What do we think? Like, I mean, it's AI, isn't it? Like the scripting and voicing and stuff. Like, would it come, what was it? I'm wondering how it would come in. But yeah, those briefing calls would be very strange.
Yeah.
Just send it to ChatGPT. One final thing, is there anything, and this doesn't have to be content related, this can be anything, is there anything that you want to see change in events?
Oh my gosh, so much. Probably, you know, work-life balance and you know, the pay gap. I think that's important. Like I've been
we're all like, yep.
I mean, like I've been involved with women in exhibitions for a long time, having worked previously on EN, and you know, they're amazing at what they do. And it's like, you know, at some point, I think this month we stopped getting paid. Like that's what they say is like every year is there's a date in the year where women obviously don't get paid as much and we're technically working for free. And so I think that with the industry being so many women and what that equality looks like, especially the higher up you go, you know, and that support and realistic expectations of actually what that looks like for everybody's future working patterns, and obviously that differs between exhibitions and agency and all the other kind of primary functions is what we call them, or different types of event typologies is different. But you know, I think that sticking together and working together to get that better would be great.
Absolutely.
Amen.
I mean, we have had conversations about pay, especially when we were in house.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've always, events isn't 40 hours a week. It's not, we get the quieter periods where it is a bit more normal, but once you're on site, once it's event season, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us, Gina.
Thank you so much for having me. This was brilliant.
I mean, what was it before we sign off? Do you want to plug you, profiles, socials, and also Confex? When can people go to Confex?
So Reg is open. Reg is live. We are on the 25th and 26th of February 2026 at Excel London, and we'd be delighted to have you. And yeah, I mean, for me, I'm Gina Kay on LinkedIn, and then Tattooed Event Manager on Instagram.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll catch you guys next time on Speakeasy.
See you soon.
Thank you.